So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here. It's lovely. It was really nice to get a message from Richard the other day saying, would I come up and do some things here? Because it was at some of Richard's events around the turn of the century, probably in the previous century, that I first did my ever first London things. He broke my London cherry. And it's a pleasure 15 years later to be invited back for the second time. Can we have some appreciation for this enfolding and unfolding artwork within which we are living here on stage today, which Richard is creating month by month to encompass your minds at this event. It is quite astounding work. I love this leitmotif of these sort of marching parades. I had one of these on my wall in my flat for a very long time. Badger, very good. Anyway, I'm going to read some poems for about 10 minutes, then I'm going to sit down and I'm going to catch a train back to Reading at some point. So forgive me if I creep out in between acts. It's only because I need to go beyond Slough. So I will miss something, I apologise.
There is nothing beyond Slough.
Oh dear.
Everybody knows that.
I'm going to read some poems from this book, Lies My Mother Never Told Me. We'll start at the beginning with a poem on page 13. It's called My Mother. I dedicate this to anyone who has or has had at some point a mother, or who wishes they had a mother, or who is planning on one day having a mother. This poem is called My Mother, and the first line of this poem is also the words My Mother, so it's quite a lot of My Mother at the beginning of this poem. But in order, because it's a Sunday night, we're all a bit laid back, I'm going to do it in this order. I will do the title, then the first line. Sometimes when I'm in other bits of London, the more avant-garde bits, sometimes I mix it up. I do the first line, then I give them the title. But tonight we're doing it the traditional way. Okay, because why mess around with the good old way? Here we go. This poem's called My Mother. My mother. My mother always encouraged me to talk to strangers. You never know, she said, when one of them might have some sweets. So that's the first poem. To be fair, if you're gonna clap them all and with that enthusiasm, let's save it up. Page 16 is called Making an Exhibition of Myself. I went to the Ideal Mirror exhibition at the London Olympia just last week. Didn't see any mirrors there. Lots of pictures of me though. Seemed a bit odd. Okay, carry on. This poem, has anyone ever noticed that sometimes life's a bit shit? Madam, me too. You and me, everybody else here seems to be living the dream life. No complaints there. But me and you, we've noticed that sometimes life's a bit shit, isn't it? And this is a poem to celebrate that life is sometimes a bit shit. This poem is called Not Fair, and it has a spelling-related joke in the first line. Here we go. Not fair. The first F fell off the funfair sign again. Everyone began shoving on the dodgems. No one but stallholders won cuddly toys and gullible little goldfish in plastic sacks. And the hall of magic mirrors made everybody look fat, even people who were actually fat already. In the tunnel of love, all the action was happening in the car in front of mine. As my girlfriend pointed out on her mobile phone from the car in front. Okay, let's see a couple more of these. And oh, thank you, Richard. Is there anyone called Dave in tonight? This poem is called Dave.
I'd like to be.
Are you a Dave? Really? Are you a Dave or a David? What do you prefer? You're both. Ambidavial, as it were. This poem is probably not about you, but it might be. So maybe at the end you could stand up and tell us whether you think it was about you or wasn't. So pay attention. Yeah, basically listen to this one. You can skip the others. Okay. This poem is just called Dave. Thursday. A man knocked at the door, asked if Dave was home. I said, I don't know. Where does he live? I'll go and check for you. The man apologised, said he'd got the wrong house, went to his car, drove away. Friday came. He didn't knock again. That was our one and only meeting. But, like Robert Plant, it made me wonder. Now, whenever I pass a house with a door, I have to stop myself knocking. Does Dave live there? Is he home? Who's Dave? Slightly metaphysical, slightly. Dave, do you think it might be? In, as Dave said, a nutshell. Okay, a couple more poems and then we'll be done. Look at this. Poems here that aren't good enough to be in a book. We'll treat you to a couple of these and we'll do one from the book and then we're done, I think. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to do two things in a row. I'm going to do them like a medley. Imagine we're a musician and we're just running them together because the compere has said only one song. So what you do, you just don't leave a gap between the two songs, and you just pretend it's just a key change in the middle, and suddenly you can go from Stairway to Heaven into one of the Tales from the Topographic Ocean from Yes's album. So you can run a 9-minute song into a 17-minute song, and the compere cannot complain. There's a little open mic tip for those of you who may be here for the first time. Think to yourselves, what's the etiquette at an open mic? There it is. You won't be asked back. I'm going to run two things together. I'm going to do a cover, because we just had a beautiful cover. We're going to have another beautiful cover. This is a piece by Yorkshireman, Jake Thackeray. Many of you probably know Jake Thackeray. This is a song of his called The Remembrance, which I will be performing as a poem. And I will run that into a poem of mine called Heaven, just straight through there. And this Jake poem is one so there we go. Then after this I'll do one poem from the book, then I'm done. Remember the bands and the grand parades, the flags, the banners, the flying cockades, and how we all looked up to see the king upon the balcony, who told us we were young and brave, we'd never become the foreigner's slave. If the foreigner comes off best, he said, you'd be better off dead. That was a couple of weeks before we got killed in the war. Remember the drums and the trumpets played when we set sail on the great crusade, and how we all looked up to see the clergyman on the quay, who told us we were grand and good, to fight for God as good men should. If the enemy comes off best, he said, you'd be better off dead. This was a couple of days before we got killed in the war. Remember the night before the raid, when the guns began the cannonade, and how we all looked up to see the captain of the company, who told us we were bold and strong, let fame and glory spur us on. If the enemy comes off best, he said, you'd be better off dead. This was a couple of hours before we got killed in the war. Remember the shock of the ambuscade. Remember the terrible fusillade, and how we all looked up to see the curious face of the enemy, who was young and shabby and seemed to be about as foreign as you or me. I never did catch what the poor sod said when he made sure we were dead. This was a couple of shakes before we got killed in the war. Heaven. For the sheep, it is the company of sheep. For the wolf, it is the company of sheep too. For the dog, it is the company of almost anyone at all. For the cat, it is all about mice and birds and fish and never saying thank you. For the red kite, it is the scent of roadkill. For the shark, it is the scent of blood. For the dolphin, the hop, skip and plunge through a silvering shoal, it is the game. For the cockroach, it's an endless kitchen of crumbs. For the worm, the drum of unexpected rain. For the bumblebee, a meadow, all of its own. For the dung beetle, it is the sight of an elephant straining. For the termite, it is orderly and signed in triplicate. For the koala, it is the uninterrupted, slow chewing hug of sleep. For the hedgehog, it's a cuddle. For the chameleon, it is certainty. For the bat, it is the sound of the darkness filled with flying flecks. For the bonobo, it is just sex. For the zebra, a chance at last to get out of these pyjamas. Thank you, thank you. I'm going to finish up with a poem from the book, and then I'm going to go sit down and listen to more beautiful songs. I'm assuming they're going to be beautiful songs. There may be some Captain Beefheart covers. I'll enjoy those as well in a different sort of beauty. That's all it is, isn't it? This is a poem about ducks. I don't know how many ducks you have in Maida Hill. Maida Hill? Not Maida. No. Is there a big rivalry between the hill and the vale? Is
Folks up the hill.
presumably you can just roll things down and it hits them, and they have to make all the effort to get uphill. So no. There is Ashley. There is no rivalry. We're all Maiders together. You don't even know what Maida is. Anyway, this is a poem about ducks. You may have seen them in two legs. Bill, wings, that sort of thing. Water, usually water underneath them. It's just called duck. A duck takes to water like off a duck's back. A duck don't deal pills, no duck is a quack. A duck in the hand is worth two in the sack. A duck in the pond makes another duck ponder. A duck is a snack for a damp anaconda. A duck in the hand makes the heart grow fonder. A duck's not a chooser, but it's thicker than water. A duck's mummy is just some other duck's daughter. A duck in the hand makes the evening grow shorter. A duck that's unholy is a duck that will float. A duck that can't swim is the one in the boat. A duck in the duck house will clean out your moat. That's a topical political joke there from 2009. So those of you who can remember the expenses scandal, cast your mind back there, and you'll discover that was actually quite funny and politically biting. There, politically biting as well, because there's that bloke, and he had his moat cleaned out that you paid for, and the other bloke at the duck house that we all paid for. No, crazy world. That never happened. A duck in the original is all Greek to me. A duck that makes honey is actually a bee. A duck in the hand just yearns to be free. A duck that's worth doing is worth doing well. A duck and a witch might meet up for a spell. A duck in the hand is the cause of this smell. A duck is as certain as death, ducks and taxes. A duck in the office just fouls up the faxes. Thank you. A duck in the hand brings on anaphylaxis. It's a good rhyme, that one. This duck was once a duckling, two left. This duck was once a duckling of infinite jest. Now older and stringy, this duck's past its best. A duck in the hand. Oh, you think of the rest. A duck and an orange have an uneasy friendship. A duck shown a winding way weavingly wends it. A duck in the hand shown a poem just ends it. There we go, that's ducks for you, everything you need to know. Thank you very much.
That was Ashley, ladies and gentlemen. And believe it or not, he is from beyond Slough. Some of you may doubt the existence of anything beyond Slough, but